Welcome back to another episode of Unexpected, where I, Tony from Art Gallery, sit down with friends all over the world to talk and to learn new perspectives around Indonesian textile art. Today, I'll be talking to Ibu Asti, who is the manager and curator of Batik dan Narhadi Museum in Solo. And definitely, I'll be talking to her and asking how does it feel to work among thousands of beautiful textiles. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy Asti's Inner Perspectives. Welcome, Bu Asti, to another episode of Inner Perspective today. How are you doing?
Thank you very much for this precious opportunity, Tony.
As one of our itinerary, whenever we do a textile trip to Solo, we always drop by Museum Batik dan Narhadi, and we are always flabbergasted and impressed by the collections.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes, and I always receive complaint that however long they can never finish in one day, so there's always not enough time.
You should have the museum had 12 rooms, so you should explore it maybe 3 hours or 4 hours, something like that. Because if you enjoy and you love batiks, this museum will give you a beautiful perspective, of course.
Yes, exactly. And now since we cannot go over there, and we would like to find out more about you, the museum, and how everyone's doing during this pandemic. Maybe first of all, before we go into details about the museum and stuff, probably you would like to give us a little introduction about yourself and how you landed up in Museum Batik dan Narhadi.
Okay, so my background, I'm graduate from law faculty, Gajah Mada University. So maybe, and then you wondering, Ibu Asti is from law faculty, why she's working at the museum? So there is a little bit, funny story or something like that. My mother, she's the head of Batik Research Institute. That's a government institution. She retired in 1997, already working with the government, Department of Minister of Industry, of course. She's the head of Batik Research Institute in Yogyakarta. And after she retires, Mr. Santoso offered her to become a curator and to manage his collections. I mean, of course, my mom already involving in batiks for 32 or 31 years. She's graduate from chemical engineering, so she loves her working. And then after she retires, Mr. Santoso hired her, but she don't have a clue. Young generation who would like to join her. In that time, in 1999, 2000, when you have a conversation with the Indonesian young generation about museum, so their imagination will be a spooky place, very dark, very dirty, and then the guide is very old, so no attracted for them. And then because my mom having difficulties to hire an employee to help her, and the same time, in 1995 to 1998, I'm working as a lawyer in Jakarta, Jalan Gatot Subroto, Wisma Argo Manunggal, Sulistyo Law Office. I'm a junior lawyer for non-litigation. It means I didn't go to the court, only if there is consultation. So I do the draft and so on. And my mom offers me to help her. At the first time, when she asked me, then in my mind, museum, just the same like the young generation in that time. Museum, a dark place, spooky, blah, blah, blah. But the person who's asking me is my mom. I'm the only daughter in the family, and I'm the eldest children in the family. So if I'm saying no, you know, it's a sin uh, to say no to the person that give you a birth. That's that's in my mind. So I just told my mom, okay, I will help you, but maybe it's only 1 or 2 years. Okay, my mom looked disappointed because maybe she thinks I will work with her as long as I can. And then uh, I went to Solo with my mom to Mr. Santoso house residence, and then they are talking so many things about batiks, which I'm not interested, of course. And then we went to this building, but this building only the structure already done, but the setup, everything is not ready yet. But when I went to this place for the first time, I'm looking to, wow, this is different museum, I think. And the next week when I met Mr. Santoso, how is he, giving the details about batiks, the process. He's very competent in this batik art of batik area. So I said to myself, okay, I will help my mom 1 or 2 years, maybe or more. Let's see what's happened. And when I working in Jakarta as a lawyer, I've met a person from almost all over the world because Jakarta is the capital. I could meet a client from abroad, which is I enjoy it because I love to speak English, even though in that time maybe my grammar or my pronunciation is, not in the good English, but I try to speak to them, and I enjoy it. And when my mom asking me working in the museum, because my interpretation about Indonesian museum is very dirty, very spooky, and I think I cannot meet foreign people or tourists because they are not interested in things that not interested for them. But I was wrong. Mr. Santoso collection is very, very huge and very beautiful. And of course, the combination with my mom ability to set up and to make the collections narration, I mean the details interpretation is very good. So this museum become very, very different comparing to other batik museum in Indonesia. This is the only private batik museum in Indonesia. So Mr. Santoso uh, a little bit worried in 1998 or early 2000 because our neighbor claiming that batiks made by them too, but actually it's very different. So after I'm working with my mom, Mr. Santoso, beside would like to set up a batik museum, he also would like to make a batik books because in early 2000, most of the books was made from person from other country, from abroad. So I helping my mom become a typist, typing all my mom script that comes from Mr. Santoso. My mom's role as the editor, and my role is only typing. But it's like making a paper, Pak Tony. If there is wrong something, speech or something, then I give it to my mom, and then my mom give it to Pak Santoso, and that's the circulation. So it makes me, my basic is law faculty, and most of students that graduate from law faculty, they are easier to remembering uh, a lot of books, of course, because that's our field. So before making a books, we have a research. We have to make a research. I went to the north coast of Java, and with my mom, of course, with one car, one driver, my mom and me, and one person from Jakarta. So we went to Lasem, so all the batik center in Java and also Madura. We make an interview. So my role is typing and, here and type, here and type. And then after 1 year finishing, Mr. Santoso published the books, Batik Pengaruh Zaman dan Lingkungan, also bilingual in English, Batik the Impact of Time and Environment. The museum was opened in 20th October 2000. After 1 year, the museum was open, and then we launched the book. The book was sold out, and I think nowadays Mr. Santoso was trying to publish it again. But there is a problem because in that time it's not yet digitalization. How we make the picture is not with nowadays, but with the small things. So
The
we
role
try
in it?
with that. Yeah,
Oh,
not already like nowadays, I think. But we will try because that book could, the brand of Danaradi could goes up with the image. I mean, with that book. After I told my mom, yes, I will help you 1 or 2 years. Now it's already 21 years. I help her. I love batiks. God opening my heart,
yeah.
opening my heart, opening my mind because I'm helping my mom, but I'm also helping Surakarta. And of course, even though it's only small contribution for batiks, I also open up the visitors all over the world. This is Indonesian batiks. It's different. It has some motifs, design have roles and the circle of lives of human.
Yes.
So that's me, Asti, and how I'm working in Danaradi Batik Museum. At the first time I don't like to work here because museum I cannot meet people from foreign country. I cannot chit chat with people from foreign country. But I was wrong, 100% wrong. And also I'm working in this museum. I also went to other museum, Pak Tony. For example, Asian Civilization Museum in Singapore. In 2019, we joined exhibition because they are celebrating the 100 years arrivals of Raffles. They are borrowing our collection, 4 of our collection. When I'm helping at the first time, my mom asking me to help her. In my mind, I cannot go abroad by working in the museum. So I was wrong again. Second, so I can go to Singapore. I can go to the Jim Thompson and Bangkok. So for me, God's working in a special way to open up my mind.
Yes, indeed. So you essentially joined the museum like almost at the same time when it just first opened.
Yes. I still remember I'm working alone as a guide, helping my mom manage the administration. So I'm working alone.
Oh.
But of course the room is only 5 rooms.
Mm.
But since 2015, Mr. Santoso expanding the rooms. Now it becomes 12. I'm happy because my mom and me recruit a young generation. All of my staff and my guide below 30. Below 30. So when we recruit them, the requirements is maximum 24 years old. Why we recruit a young generation? Because this is important when the young generation visit this museum, and then the person who's the guiding is different tone, different perspective. They will not come again to museum. So we change that. Okay, the museum exhibit is old, come from other era, but how we present it, how we display it, it should be different. So why is that Mr. Santoso didn't put the pieces, the batik inside the glass box? It's different.
When do you get like actually interested in batik?
When I accompany my mom having field research for the books.
I see.
So I met in so many village women. So they are working even though they cannot read, they cannot write, but this working for these pieces of batiks with happiness, even though if she share it, it's not expensive, but she will receive some money and then she will, buy something for her family, her daughter. They are not finishing school or even though they are not going to school. So I'm asking myself, Asti, in Indonesia, women who have a chance to study in a university, less than maybe 20% or 15%. So you have a chance to study in Gajah Mada University, government university, which is most all of young generation would like to enter it. You are a Japanese, so what's your role to preserve the batik? What's your role to make your mom happy? That's the important things. Makes my mom happy because I love my moms a lot, of course. And then since that research, field research, I go back to uh, the office and I told my mom, I think I will help you. I will help you in every way more than 3 years or 5 years. But I try to help you forever. My mom was very happy. And yes, I hope you could learn more about batik. You will not disappoint if you learn it with seriously. So that's what makes me, you know, falling in love with batiks. And of course, when I'm working with Mr. Santoso, he's very consistent. He's very disciplined. He had, you know, the plan how to not only the business, but how to working the schedule. You must working hard, blah blah blah, something like that. He's also beside my boss. Of course, he's also my teacher. My mom and Mr. Santoso are my teacher because from them I know a lot about batiks, but still nowadays I'm still learning, yeah, because I'm not born from the school that study about batiks and not born from the batiks family, so I'm still studying. But Indonesian young generation should be proud because this batiks is after the UNESCO declare batik as a intangible cultural heritage, it's more important for the Indonesians, of course, to preserve this batik. So one of the mission of the museum is to preserve but also develop the batik in Indonesia.
Yeah, you mentioned like it has transformed from since like 5 rooms to 12 rooms.
12, yeah.
Maybe like how many collections are there?
Nowadays, we have 1,253 collections. So we displayed based on theme batik, the impact of time and environments. Actually, Mr. Santoso collects the old batiks since he's in study in Bandung. That was, I think, before 1967. He developed Danaradi in 1967. In that time, he's already collect either from the grandfather or grandmother, and then also buy some collection from other collectors. Now, Mr. Santoso had almost more than 10,000 batik collections. We displayed only 1,250 something, 53 or 55.
Yeah, it's about
So
only
that's only
10%.
10%. Yeah, that's true. That's so. Our plan is to roll the collections once in a year or 1.5 a year, but the same, concept, batik pengaruh zaman dan lingkungan.
I see. Okay. So it will be about the same flow and designs, but it's different pieces.
Yeah, different pieces. That's right. Yeah.
I see.
So when you entering the museum, so there is a lobby, and then the first rooms is batik kraton or batik palace, batik that made inside and developed inside the palace. The putri kraton or the princess and the wives of the king made those pieces.
So there's upon entering, and then you'll be treated to a different rooms throughout different age and
different age.
Yeah. And one of the exciting ones, since we are live from the museum, is this room that has the photos of Pak Santoso and his family.
Yes. So not all the persons knowing why he named the company Danar Hadi. So Danar is the name of Mrs. Santoso. So before he married Pak Santoso, her maiden name is Danarsi. And then Hadi is the parent-in-law of Mr. Santoso, Hadi Priyono. When Mr. Santoso starting the business, Pak Hadi Priyono, the father of Mrs. Danarsi, gave Mr. Santoso cotton, a bunch of cotton to starting the business. So because his respect the parents-in-law, he named the company after the name of his wife, because a man could not be succeed if not supporting by his wife. That's true, I think. And then from the name of the parent-in-law Hadi. So he named the company Danar Hadi, and Santoso just small written Santoso, but the big is Danar Hadi. Danar Hadi developed in 1967, but Mr. Santoso great grandparents already involving in batik. So Mr. Santoso not just like that, involving in batiks, but his grandparents, his great grandparents already involving in batiks. And when Mr. Santoso still in junior high school, he lives with the grandparents because his mother died in a young age. So there is a culture in Japanese that to ease the sadness, sometimes the grandparents take one or two of their grandchildren to live with them. And Mr. Santoso, every morning, every day when she went to school, she met the person who makes batiking, and then he socialized. He met the persons that makes the chop, stamp, or dipping. And after going back from school, she's playing with them. So I think this makes Mr. Santoso, become more and more falling in love with batiks, because every day little Santoso met the people that involving make batiking. That's the reason, Pak Tony. So why is that Mr. Santoso very, very, the design department is directly under his supervision nowadays. So
until now he's very involved. Wow.
Mr. Santoso will be 80 years old this 7 December 1941. So he born the same day when the Japan bombing Pearl Harbor. 7 December 1941. So he is still working with the design staff under his supervision. And if if the person working in the office, don't imagine that Mr. Santoso working with the, with the shirt or with the necktie. No, 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 no. T-shirt and sarong, just like that. And he will sit in the floor, and then the person from design department circling him, and he will give the instruction. Just simple like that. But in the end of the day, there's a pieces that very, very beautiful, either from the composition of the design or the composition of the color. So for me, he's not only a businessman, he's also an artist, because he could, combine, if I take this color, combine it with the other color, so it becomes what color. I cannot imagine how he could do that.
Coming back to the museum,
Yeah.
it's how you transform that dark and scary place into what is it today.
Actually, Mr. Santoso transforming the place, because he knows that most of the museum in Indonesia, especially textile, they put the pieces inside the glass box. And then for the batik, you cannot, if you put it in the glass box, you cannot see the details, because you can see batik that had the main design, and then there is fillings motif, which is very, very small. So he displayed like a gallery, and then he put so many chandelier when the visitors come, so it's more brighter. And then how my staff, my guide, explain it, I told them, please not only explain about batiks, but of course give interactive speech, something like that. So they could ask you, and then you giving an answer, but not like a teacher in Indonesian schools. Yeah, they think they are always all right. In my era, when I was junior high school or senior high school, so if I had different perspectives, so the teacher will give me A or C, not A, but D, something like that. So Mr. Santoso changed that, and of course the details of the batiks, we type it different with the different language. And I always told my guide to become professional. So if you open at 9, 30 minutes or 50, last 30 minutes or 15 minutes, we should be ready. We should be ready. And of course, it should be clean. The museum should be clean. There is no dirt. There is no Spider-Man. Because if you're working in the museum, you should working also with your heart, with your soul. You love it, something like that. So if not, you will not enjoy it, and the visitors also will not enjoy it, because it will not come from your heart. How you explain it, how you have a conversation.
How many guides do you have?
So nowadays I have 5 guides, 3 men and 2 women. I'm very proud of them because they learn fast, and their basic knowledge it's not from faculty that learn about batiks or about textile. Most of them graduate from English department, because the most important things also, the guide, when we recruit them, they should speak English fluently, because most of the guests when before the COVID, of course, is from abroad. And none of the tourists, if they are visiting solo, they always visiting Danaradi from the trip advisor or something like. Yeah, English is number 1. And I told the human resources development manager, if you would like to have a guide with not only English, so you should raise up their salary. You will get easier. Yes, it's it makes sense, yeah.
Yes.
You
Mm.
would like to have more capability, yeah. So you should pay them more. That's the rules.
If you can share a little bit more about your roles and probably like day-to-day activities of what you do.
Because I'm also the assistant manager, but also the assistant curator. So I should check the cleanliness of the collections, and I should once a week we have a briefing discussion. And since 2 months ago or 1 month ago, we also have Instagram operated again, because in my opinion this is very important to influence the young generation, to make know them that Danaradi Batik Museum is different. It's not like the museum on your mind, yeah. And then if there is a student comes to the museum for making a paper, either thesis, dissertation, something like that. So after they are visiting the museum, taking a picture, so there is a discussion because they have questions that maybe I could give an answer of. If I'm not could give an answer, so will I ask my mom to answer the questions. And if there is an exhibition like in at the ACM, I'm responsibility for Mr. Santoso collections. I mean the insurance, of course, I will bring one or two my staff to exhibition, which for them it's very interested, because if they are only staying inside the museum and just only guiding, of course it's make them boring. So why I take them, it's to make open up their mind. This is the other museum in the world, not in Indonesia. So it, outside Indonesia, the museum is very different. In Indonesia, maybe only the private museum could manage uh, in a good way. Once year, 2 times in 1 year, we give a product knowledge. So the role of the museum also giving a product knowledge for sales promotion girls and sales promotion boys, also the supervisors of the showrooms, because Danar Hadi beside museum, of course, Batik Danar Hadi have showrooms in all over Indonesia. So it's our job. It's my job too, helping my mother give the product knowledge to the sales promotion boys and sales promotion girls about batiks. I mean, why, if a customer asking why there is 100,000 rupiah price, why there is 5 million, while there is 2 million, so she could explain, because different process, or maybe how many colors applied in one pieces. Of course, it's different. You apply 2 colors comparing you applied 5 colors, and how we make the coloring. It means by dipping or by direct brushing, and then the dyeing, either from chemical dyes or from ingredients that comes from leaves or from roots, something like that, of course will be different. So this sales promotion boys and girls and the supervisor should be explain it to the customers, because in Indonesia, when do you know Danar Hadi, and then in their mind, oh yes, the expensive batiks. No, there is an expensive batiks, there is a middle class batiks. It depends. It depends on the process. If you have expensive, it means premium. It means made by natural dyes. It makes by the materials from natural silk from cocoon, not from synthetic. So the price, it depends on those things. It's not fair, comparing pieces that makes from Pasar Klewer in Solo. Then that's that's the printed, machine and then you compare it with Dana Reddy, but was made by tulis or hand drawn. It's not fair. So you should compare it things that the same in process, how to make.
So other than just accepting visitors, you do kind of like education for in-house sales promoters as well.
Yeah. I'm sometimes also working, helping my colleagues from marketing communication, coverage from television, Trans TV, something like that. The television contacting marketing communication, but after that, the person that speaking in the camera, me or my staff.
Do you work with schools as well in terms of socializing and education?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes we have collaboration with SMA 4, senior high school SMA in Solo. Yes, sometimes yes. But because this pandemic, it's makes the visitors of the museum. For example, before the pandemic, one day there is at least 20 to 25, not in a groups, but they come 2 persons, 1 person. But nowadays, in one day, maximum 19, less than 19. So on what day? Monday, 31st May. That's in Indonesia. The 1st May is the Pancasila Day.
Yeah.
And then this Monday is between holidays.
With sun,
So we have 19 visitors, which is the most visits in the museum since January. Before that, only one day, only 2, only 4, only 5. But I don't know. I hope because there is a vaccination, something like that. So everybody, of course, will go out. So for museum, it's safe, and the protocol is done by us. It's safer comparing if you go to the mall, public places like mall. So museum is safer, of course.
Overall, how's the pandemic affecting the museum?
So when the pandemic started, that's on March in Indonesia, of course.
Yeah.
In March 2020, I still remember that's Sunday, 15 March. So the government declared, the COVID, blah, blah, blah. And the mayor, of course, gave letters that tourism destination should be closed. So in 16 March, actually we have a group from Malaysia, one bus. But we should close. So makes me cry. And then we closed for 2.5 months. And my staff, they not paid, so they are staying home. But Mr. Santosa gave me an instructions for the office boys that's cleaning things. They still go to the office with my supervision. And then we open again June 3rd or something like that. And we have a collaboration with marketing communication, making a virtual tour because we should use the IT things, social media things, and then we make a virtual tours. Yeah, that's now you can see it in YouTube, Dana Reddy Batik virtual tour, and of course we make a teaser about the Dana Reddy, and of course because this is Mr. Santosa is very proud with this museum. So he try that there is no, efficiency things like that makes my staff fired or things like that. But yes, this pandemic, we should fight. Don't give up. We should fight. I think this early month still goes the visitors is a little bit goes up. Every day now there is a visitor.
Okay.
Starting January, February, March or May. Before, one day nil, zero. 5 days zero, no visitors. So that's, for my staff, they are young generation. I told him, don't give up. We just try. We should try. We should try either to active the Instagram with your language, not my language, because you are the young person. So the tone should be the same. Maybe in the description of the batik I will give you, but how you speak in Instagram, it should your knowledge. You knowing more than me. I told them like that.
So these are like some of the activities or initiatives that you do during the pandemic.
Yeah. So if we are having briefings, I give them a room, a space to talk to me about their idea, about their their mindset about something. Because my mom teach me a person that knowing more, it's not always knowing everything. So sometimes this young generation, with their perspective, maybe they could, give way to us, to the old people, how to translate these things become loved by the young generation. And of course, one thing I forgot to tell Pak Tony, sometimes there is invitation from Department of Tourism Surakarta, and then I told my staff, one of you should go, not always me. So you should meet them, you will know them, and then the department will know you. And there is, estafette. So, and then they are of course not boring, just staying in the office, just staying in the office. So I give my staff a chance to meet people outside, to meet the new mayor, something like that, or to have a meeting with other museum, something like that. Because yes, that's important to increase the knowledge about the batiks, but of course it's also important for them knowing people outside, to make interaction, to make socialize between them. That's what Tony.
So not just to like do day-to-day work in
today,
the office.
It makes boring.
So,
There should be other things to do.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you face while running the museum?
Not all my challenges, not all of my colleagues, which is included the finance manager and the human resources development managers, understand the value of this museum for Mr. Santoso and Ibu Danarse, and also for Danar Hadi, and also for Surakarta, Central Java, or Indonesia. So nowadays, last week, the manager of human resources development asking me to reduce the office boy. And then I told him, just a minute, I will ask Pak Santoso first, because this museum is directly under his authority. And Mr. Santoso told me, no. Why? We have 12 rooms with 1,253 collections. My office boys are 3, in one day only 5 who goes to the office, and their jobs is cleaning the batiks with the brush one by one, and then vacuuming the tile and whatever and the antique stains. We have 12 rooms, so if you reduce it to 3 and only in one day 2 person, are you crazy? I told him. And then the finance manager. So but every year they need 40 millions for this museum, yeah, for the electricity, for my salary, my staff salary. But you don't have your income, Bu Asti. It's maximum. It's only 51 million, and sometimes it's less than that. So it's minus. They told me like that. Okay, just a minute, sir. If there is a guest from, like yesterday, from ambassador from Armenia visiting the museum, and he looks around, and she was amazed, and she's asking if could more, cooperation or something like that. So there is also an advantage. And the only batik company in Indonesia that built a museum is only Danar Hadi. So young generation nowadays are not stupid. Person nowadays are not stupid. They will, they will admire how Mr. Santoso give his contribution to preserve and develop the batiks. Not always counted on the finance things, finance perspective, because sometimes the brand of Danar Hadi will give you an impact. For example, after we have a collaboration exhibition with the Asian Civilization Museum in Singapore, after that, the visitors from Singapore is increasing because they saw our collections, and there is a brochures over there, and then they visit the museum. I mean like that. And after that, after from the museum, they will buy something in our showroom because this is an integrated tourism destination. There is also a restaurant, something like that. Not always you don't you count it from money.
Yeah.
Because the entrance ticket is only 35,000 for publics, and for student is 15,000. This is the contribution of Mr. Santoso and Danar Hadi to preserve, to develop the batiks as intangible cultural heritage. So that's my challenge, my big challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Like the perception of museum itself is, I mean, you cannot just see it from financial value.
Yeah, financial, not only financial. Something is not only financial, because after Mr. Santoso making the first book, and then so many national, there is a Asian Channel News Asia, Channel News Asia also interviewed Mr. Santoso in his house after we launched the batik pengaruh zaman di lingkungan, batik the impact of time and environment. So there is after the interview, and then there is a person comes maybe to the showrooms, and the uniform of the security guard from Mr. Jokowi also ordered from Danar Hadi, even though not the showrooms that the same location with us, but ordered from our showrooms in Jakarta. So the museum gives positive perspectives for other people, for other society.
Yeah. Is that how you landed up engaging with Asian Civilization Museum as well?
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. And then in 2022, they asking again to exhibition. I was amazed by them because after that exhibition, they decide to make a new room that displayed about batiks.
Yes.
So that's for me, wow. And then there are some of collections, there is 2 collections, batik collections, that was worn by my mom and my dad when they are getting married. Now it's already displayed at the Asian Civilization Museum. They insist to buy it. And then because Mrs. Naomi Wang and Mr. Kenny Ting, that's the curator and the assistant curator. After that exhibition, we are talking, contacting, and now we are I guess we are friends, best friends. So after they saw my picture, my mom picture married. So would you please asking your mom to sell those two pieces to us, because now we will build rooms that displaying batiks that had philosophical. So my mom, the batik motif named Sidomukti. There is a picture of my mom and my father over there getting married with my grandparents from my mother in that room beside the collections that they are displayed. So for me it's amazing. Okay, I will tell my mom and my mom sell it to them. So in 2022 they will launching that room. They are inviting us, and they asking the Danaradi Batik Museum to bring some of collections that have a role in uh, circle of life of Japanese uh, society. So I hope this COVID will, will disappear. I don't know.
So I guess that is one of your proudest and happiest moment to be working with Danar Hari Museum, to be able to learn directly from Pak
Yeah,
Santoso
directly from
himself,
Mr.
right?
Santoso. Yes, directly from Mr. Santoso, because at the first time when the museum opened, 1 week, Mr. Santoso every morning from before 2015, the factory is behind this museum. So
Ah,
every morning after Mr. Santoso finishing his working in the factory, he always come to the museum. And this is my advantage. I could ask anything. I could ask anything about batiks, ask anything about his journey, because he also loves if a person asking him about batiks. The mindset that Mr. Santoso is, very disciplined and very hard person. No, just what's your topics? If your topics about batiks, he will explain it to you almost the whole day.
yes. Definitely will be looking forward if we have a chance to
Yeah,
meet
yeah,
him, right?
yeah, of course. Yeah.
And what are some of the upcoming projects that or upcoming exciting stuff that we can expect from Museum Batik Danar Hadi in the near future?
Yeah, yeah. So we are preparing for that collaboration with Asian Civilization Museum, and usually at Hari Batik Nasional to October in Indonesia, there will be an exhibition. I don't know for this year. Next year, last year we displayed. Uh, the title is Tribute to Jawa Dwipa. So we have
Ah,
an exhibition and we display it in the Pendopo, the residence of Kanjeng Wuryaningrat. So this complex of House of Danar Hadi with the title Tribute to Jawa Dwipa. So you can find it also in YouTube, Danar
um,
Hadi Tribute to Jawa Dwipa. For the next year, I don't know yet the planning for the exhibition, but for sure, yes, every 2 October there will be an exhibition. And of course, I heard that there is a product knowledge comes, I don't know, in September or in October. And I hope that this situation the visitors will goes up. Uh, of course, not makes us just waiting and waiting. But I'm enjoying this invitation from the North, because I could, introduce the museum. Maybe they are now not knowing yet what is the Naradi Batik Museum. Oh, it's museum. Oh, museum, it's a spooky place. No, this is different museum. It's not spooky place, and the guide it's young, and their how they're explaining is not boring, something like that.
definitely, we are looking forward to the Hari Batik Nasional
Yes.
exhibition.
Okay, Pak
Yeah,
Tony. Yes, yes, yes.
so it will be virtual as well. I guess there will be
Yeah.
a
Okay.
virtual
Yeah.
component.
That's good idea. Yeah, I
Mm.
agree. If
Yes.
we have an exhibition, then we have a virtual in the room that we exhibit special for the Hari Batik Nasional. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
that's good
yes. Looking
idea.
forward to
Thank you
that
very much.
discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
And finally, probably a short closing remarks or messages of hopes that you want to have for Museum Batik Danar Hadi.
Especially for the young audience. Especially
Yes.
for the young audience. Maybe batiks comes from an old era, but we could present it, different. So maybe my blouse, for example, my blouse in a green color. If this blouse in a brown color, for sure, it will make boring. So it depends. It depends on how we present. And for the Indonesian young generation, the role of the batiks is very important. It's could enrich the culture of Indonesia. So you should study. If you study, for example, me, I don't know anything about batiks, but I try because my mom, of course, I try, and then when I'm knowing more and depth, and then I fall in love of this batiks. The same with maybe in the puppet wayang or the keris. This is the Indonesian's culture. We have so many, for the culinary. We have the culinary, we have the culture. So we should fight for it. Yeah. Pak Tony, if you visit to Solo, maybe next month or next year, and then come to Danaradi, I promise I will guide you. Do you eat? Do you know nasi liwet, Pak Tony?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I will bring you the best nasi liwet in Solo. It's not a restaurant, but just near in the front of the shop, something like that. The
Yes.
ibu-ibu. Yes.
Yes, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And
Yeah.
I really cannot wait for this pandemic to be over so that we can visit you guys again.
Yes.
Has been
We should
missing.
have spirit, stay safe and spirit, don't give up.
Thank you so much, Bu Asti,
Thank you,
for
Pak Tony. It's a pleasure to
time.
speaking to you, Pak Tony.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to today's episode of An Perspective. If you like this interview, do check out our previous chat with other guests over on our IGTV or on our website www.anargallery.com. And follow us on social media at Anel Gallery on Instagram and Facebook to find out more about our future happenings. Until next time, stay safe and take care.